Welcome to BAM, Badass Moms with Lori and Jenny. We are moms on a mission to share women's stories about life, fitness, aging, relationships, travel, and much more. Hello, friends, and thanks for listening. I just wanted to take a second to give you a quick reminder about subscribing to the show. If you have not already, just take a moment and do so. This will make sure that you never miss a daily bite or an upcoming episode. And in addition to that, if you have a few extra moments and like to drop us a review, we'd really appreciate it. And there's also a sponsor of the show located at the bottom of all of our episodes. Once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for being badass. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us on another episode of the BAM with Lori and Jenny. Welcome to 2025. This is our first episode of the new year. We thought it'd be fun to connect with each other and kind of have a wrap up of 2024, what kind of the last month or so of that year, and, you know, welcome in 2025 with what we have on tap, what we're excited for the show, what we're excited in our own lives, and just kind of catch up. So, hey, Jenny, how you doing?
Hello, Happy New Year.
I want you to kick things off because Jenny has a very interesting story. She had a big trip towards the end of last year and she went to Costa Rica, and I'll let her kind of tell you. She had an unexpected, I'm going to say emergency happen, but nothing crazy. So why don't you tell us about that, Jenny?
So Costa Rica was awesome. So we get there, we went to this place called Dominical. So you fly into San Jose and then you drive. It's supposed to be like 3 hours, but with traffic, it was like 5 hours to get to the place. So we got in on Wednesday, but it was late at night. And then we spent the night in San Jose. And then Thursday was our trek to Dominical. And so we got there Thursday evening. And so our first day in the water and like doing, fun stuff was Friday. So we were planning on taking surf lessons every day. At least I was. And one of my friends was going to join me. And then some of the people didn't need surf lessons, but I needed help. So then Friday we had surf lessons. And then Saturday we had surf lessons. And then the girls, so there were 4 couples, and all the girls decided we were going to go on a hike. And there's this beautiful waterfall. And it's like a tiny little area. And we walk up there and there's this like cool rope swing. And I was like, I've never done a rope swing. I want to do it. And so there were other people doing it. And there's a guy that's in the water. There was one couple, one guy that spoke Spanish, and then one guy with his dog. So it was like not super populated. And
So you watched a handful of people actually do this before you decided it was a good idea.
People do it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the guy that spoke Spanish was like, oh yeah, in broken English, he's like, this is how you hold it. And I was like, and I was asking him, I'm like, it's okay. It's deep enough, like all that kind of stuff. And he's like, yes, fine. All this stuff. I'm like, okay. And then the woman right before me, the joke is that this couple, they were from, I think like somewhere in Scandinavia. I don't know where they were from, but they were this beautiful couple. So he was like this very good looking guy. And then she was this woman in this tiny little bikini. She was gorgeous, long, blonde, like brownish blonde hair. And, like 7 feet tall, this tiny little thing, and that, long and lean. And she takes the rope. Her boyfriend hands her the rope because you kind of climb up the side of this like hill, and he hands her the rope, and she like jumps in the water, and she jumps in, and she like perfectly lands in the water, tiny little splash, barely anything, comes up out of the water. And we were all joking that it was like her hair was still dry. Like, was that perfect?
Like the model commercial.
Yes.
She was
it
out
was like,
of the water.
I wish we had it on video because I wish I could describe how perfect it was, but it was. So anyway, I'm like, okay, no problem. Right. So meanwhile, I've been working on my pull-ups. So my grip strength is like legit. It's strong. So the guy, the boyfriend, he's like, I'll hand you the rope. So I climb up the side. And of course, I decide I'm going to wear my shoes. They're like river shoes. Like my daughter has them, Alyssa has them for river rafting. So I'm going to wear my shoes because I don't want my feet to like cut on the bottom or whatever.
This is what happens when you do these activities after like 40 is you think about your feet. You like overthink it all, right? You just don't go do it, right? You're like, oh,
no, I know. Which could be part of the problem. I don't know. So anyway, so I get up there, he hands me the rope, and then I'm swinging in the water, and my friends, they're videoing it, right? So I swing in the water, and somehow I end up, if you watch the video, you see me flip around and then turn a different direction and then end up going in the water, like belly flap sort of. Did I send you the video?
I think I saw it. Yeah.
Okay,
I do.
yeah.
Oh, well, you showed it to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so then kind of like belly flop in the water. It was not at all graceful. So then I come up out of the water and I'm like, I look down. It was like my hand feels weird. So I look down and I'm like, my ring finger is gone. Like I don't see it at all. Then I realize that it is completely dislocated. So it's basically like, if you can see my hand, like this. And it was going internally. So it was under these two fingers. So I could basically go like this and hold my ring finger. So I get out of the water and my three friends are standing there and they're, still, they turned off the video, which we were like, you should have kept it on because I'm sure it was hilarious. I get out of the water and one of my friends was an ICU nurse. So I just kind of shoved my hand at her and I go, do whatever you have to do. And she put it back into place. So then it was like in place, but kind of not in place. It was like really crooked, but not as bent. So anyway, I don't know. Somehow we were all very calm and we're like, okay, let's go get it checked out. So we went to the urgent care, all this kind of stuff. So basically they tell me, so again, second day, right? They tell me, it's broken and you need surgery. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? And I was like, well, I'm here for, another almost week. So can it wait till I get home? And so basically they contact their orthopedic surgeon. And we actually, one of our neighbors is an orthopedic surgeon and God love him. We sent him the film, it was actually a picture of their x-ray because they can't give you the x-ray. They sent me a PDF. And so we sent it to them and he had his hand surgeon look at it. She's like, yep, have them straighten it and splint it. And then we'll get you in when you get back. So by the time I got back, so I splinted it and I was like that for the week. So no more surfing or any of that kind of stuff, but I was
How much pain were you in, Jenny? Were you in pain or were you just inconvenienced?
It was like a dull pain. It wasn't a significant amount of pain. I do have a pretty high pain threshold, but it wasn't like a ton of pain. So it was manageable. Right. It was more like
some Advil, you're good, right? Pop a few Advil in your
yeah. Okay. Well, they gave me, of course, down there you can get anything. So they gave me it was like tramadol mixed with like acetaminophen, and I was mixing that, and they had me alternate that with like ibuprofen, and so I was on that for the week, and then
so you were truly on vacation.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, and like the things that were the most uncomfortable were like not being able to roll over when I was sleeping and stuff like that. Yeah. So I had to prop it up. So I couldn't but it wasn't so painful that I couldn't sleep. But by the time I got home, it had been banged around enough, even though it was in the splint wasn't great. It had been banged around enough that it was like so misshapen. So by the time I got to the doctor, they were like, oh my God. Oh, and so they scheduled me for surgery, like just a couple days later. So I had surgery. And I fixed it. Or they fixed it. So it now does resemble a finger again, which is awesome. So, yeah.
So what is your advice to people that are going to do a random rope swing on vacation?
Maybe I won't do anything without like a tour guide at this point, So yeah, I don't think I won't be doing any more rope swings. In fact, we do ropes at the gym, I probably won't. I don't even know if I'm going to do those. I may be just like done with ropes altogether.
Well, if you remember a while back, Jenny said she was on a mission last year to do, I don't know how many it was, pull-ups, right?
By the end of the year.
10 pull-ups. And how many did you get before this happened? Six. So now it's like starting over, I assume, once you get your finger back in shape.
At the time, so I got back and this finger hurt too. This ring finger hurt too. But I was like, and it was very black and blue while I was there, but I could still bend it. I'm just going to check it out when I get back. So I had them x-ray that too when I got back and they're like, it's not broken. I was like, okay, great. But then when I went back after surgery, I was like, it is still really sore. She's like, yeah, you sprained it. And sprains take like 9 to 12 months. And then they unwrap the big giant cast off this hand, the hand with the broken finger. And I realized I sprained my pinky and my middle finger in addition to breaking my ring finger. So my hands are like a total shit show right now. So I can't grip on that hand. I can't grip more than, she said, 1 to 2 pounds. I can do whatever I want with this hand. She's like, sprained, like it is what it is. Just do what you can, you can do what you want to do. So I can lift on one side. So the pull-ups will be having to wait for a while.
Right.
So I'll have
you can still do body weight squats. You can do lunges. You can do
as long as I'm on like the Smith machine where I'm not gripping the bar. I can still do like squats and stuff like that. So it's not the end of the world.
So maybe you have to come up with a new, instead of pull-ups, you might have to come up with some other kind of
I know
challenge, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the challenge is just like keeping yourself going in an injury, right? I'm like,
even with your fingers,
yoga.
right? Like the smallest things on your body, right? I think are the toughest. So I have a flashback. I don't even know how many years ago it was, but here I go and I do this Olympic triathlon, right? Like, and I wasn't a swimmer and I did it and it was in Steamboat. Didn't hurt myself, felt good about it. Got back. I was unloading my bags and a bottle of wine from the car. I dropped the bottle of wine on my toe. I had sandals on and I broke my toe. Right. Yeah. So like here I go and I do this like wonderful event, have a great time. And then I get back and hurt my toe and I'm trying to like ride my bike and all the things, as you know, it's a little toe, but it really does make a difference. Your toes and your fingers are really important.
I know. Well, and it's crazy too, because, they did have to put a plate in there. So there's a plate in it. So I have to be careful of like, but apparently like putting the plate in will let me get back to normal faster. So I have to start physical therapy.
You do hand physical therapy, just moving.
I'm guessing it's like a lot of like, I mean, right. I haven't bent it since I've done this. So I'm sure she'll have me bend it and then I'll have to build up my strength and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it is crazy how much it can derail you. But the thing that's funny is I realized how much you can do with one hand.
Right.
But then there's also like certain things I was looking up. How do you braid your hair with one hand? Because, I couldn't like do my hair and stuff,
You pay somebody, Jenny. You pay somebody.
I know. And what's weird? I noticed too that, and maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, but I was doing a ton of Googling for like tools to help you with one hand. And they have stuff for like old people. They don't have stuff for like people that are still active and want to like maintain their exercise. And I did buy wrist straps so I could still lift on cables. Do resistance.
I bet that took you down like a crazy Google hole of interesting things.
It was crazy. We do have one ponytail holder that is one-handed.
That's interesting.
But I didn't buy it because I have enough mobility on my other hand that I can at least hold like these fingers work, which makes a big difference. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think back. So my grandpa, ever since I knew my grandpa, he only had one arm. He only had a left arm because he used to work in a factory, and I don't know the details of it, but his right arm got cut off. So I was always just amazed how I figured it all out with one arm, driving and everything, right? Like he just got so used to it. So I think there's a lot of just learning how to figure it out. There was no Google back then where he could like figure out.
I know. And I felt super grateful that I could like look at videos and be like, hey, how do people do this with one hand? And there's dictation on your computer and stuff like that. So it's a whole new world, but yeah, it is just bizarre. So I'm on the road to recovery, thank goodness. And hopefully it'll be smooth sailing from here on out, but yeah, I don't know. I probably won't be doing rope swings or anything too crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an interesting way to end your 2024. I mean, it's definitely a story, right? I mean, maybe not the one you wanted, but
I know.
I think, in hindsight, you'll look back and it'll be even more funny as you get a little bit further away from it.
I will say, like, the thing, like, we were laughing about it even when I was coming out of the water. We were already cracking up. We're like, oh my God. And, because it was so bizarre. People do rope swings all the time. And my friend's like, I grew up doing them. I've never seen anything like this. It was just it was like the most bizarre thing. So yeah, anyway, so we got a lot of mileage. And of course, then our friends were like slowing up and you're slowing down and speeding up the video. So getting screenshots of it. And it was very entertaining. So we got a lot of
I think we should put it on YouTube. So. It might be one of those videos that goes viral.
Honest to God, I think if we had kept filming, after I got out of the water, it probably would have. But now it looks pretty uneventful. I mean, it's a weird contortion.
Yeah.
But other than that, like you can't see my finger. You can just see me come out of the water like this, Well, you can't see it close up.
It also reminds me of a time that Jenny sent me a video where there was a bird. Was there a bird or two birds stuck in my house?
Yes.
And she sent me the video of her basically trying to, or was it your husband? I don't remember, trying to chase the birds out of the house. It was hilarious. So
I had his hockey gear on because I didn't want him touching me. Yeah, it was a whole thing. But I'm like, the most bizarre random shit happens to me. And I'm like, how on earth does this stuff happen? It was the 1 in a million thing that could happen. Just bizarre.
Well, it needs to be the winning the lottery thing.
That's what I said. I was like, I'm buying a fucking lottery ticket. Because yesterday, so after this, I was walking with a friend yesterday, and those orange. They're like, for construction, they put up these fences and they're plasticky. They're not anything hardcore.
Yeah.
And it was just along the path. And my jacket happened to be unzipped. And no joke, my jacket, it blew open a little bit and the tiny little zipper pull caught in the fence. That's when I said, I'm buying a damn lottery ticket. Like, this shit does not happen to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, maybe it's leading up to something even like bigger and better, right? All the silly things.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Anyway. And so in addition to your big trip, Costa Rica, you've been home. I've been home too with the kiddos, doing some fun stuff like going up to the mountains, skiing in, just kind of taking a break, which is always nice, right? Like, I feel like it's so needed. Even if you don't go anywhere big, it's just nice to take a step away from the day to day. And for you, I believe one or both of your daughters came home.
Just one. Alyssa is in Alaska. So she was there for the holiday, which was a bummer, but she had just started her new job. And I think she was kind of regretting not coming home because it's been raining there, not snowing. It just started to snow a little bit. And so the skiing, she wasn't getting any lessons or anything anyway to give people. So she probably could have come home, but we didn't know that. And then Chelsea came home for college. So she was here. So yeah, it was just, it's weird not having both of them home, I
can't imagine. I'm not there yet. And I just think the vibe would be different, not bad, just different. Right. Like,
I'm sure Chelsea was so bummed because they still they'll sleep in the same bed on Christmas Eve and, all that kind of stuff, which is super cute. Yeah, I want to hear about, so Wyatt is 7. So
7.
Christmas with the 7-year-old is so much fun.
He's still in the magic ages, right? Or the magic time, as they call it, right? And I can't wait to continue to hold on to that maybe for one more year because it is so much fun and it adds just another dimension to the holiday,
it's like you get to be a kid too.
Yeah, it is. It's so fun. So, that's of course always, fun and exciting to have Santa come in the morning and all the fun things. And, I think just hanging out though, and just really enjoying being together. And we went up and went sledding and, my stepson is 16, it's just like getting to spend some extra quality time together that in the normal day to day doesn't happen.
Was he with you the whole time?
He was 2 weeks. No, he was with his mom for the first week. And then the second week he was with us. So it was a good split. It's always nice when you can have a little time on and a little time off.
Yeah, for sure.
But we didn't do anything crazy, but we just kind of hung out, but it was a nice break. Right. And
you have
breath of fresh air to kind of so, I used to snowboard. I say skiing and my son gets so mad because he's like, Mom, you don't ski, you snowboard. And I'm like, I know, but I just call it skiing. Right. Growing up in Colorado and always, let's call it snowboarding, used to go all the time. And now for many of you that are local to the Denver area and driving up to the mountains, I think I even heard today, it was supposed to be one of the most congested rides back on I-70. Traffic is horrible. It's expensive and it's great fun when you're up there.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work, right? So we actually didn't go at all last year. And this year we went 2 days in a row, which I felt pretty good about. Stuck the boys in half-day lessons and then they powered through the second half of the day. And we had told my stepson that if he didn't want to do the next day, that was fine. He could do whatever. But Wyatt really enjoyed it. And we did the second day with him. But it's one of those things, it's so fun to be able to do those kind of activities and at least introduce your children to it and give them the opportunity to know what it's all about. And then hopefully as they get older and their buddies say, hey, do you want to go skiing or snowboarding? They've had the opportunity to, know at least how to put their stuff on and get down the hill safely. Right.
Yep.
Still love it. Just don't go that often. I think you're probably kind of on the same page, right? It's just a lot of work.
Well, and it's funny because we're going to Alaska and Alyssa's doing snowboard lessons out there. And so she's like, do you guys want to ski or snowboard while you're here? And I was like, no, because we're going to go. So I didn't tell you that. I don't think we bought tickets to go to Alaska to visit her in February, which most people don't want to go in February, but we're going to see her. So it's different.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I think I've had enough adventure. I am accident prone, as we all know. So I think I'm good.
So do you not ski or snowboard anymore at all then? Or
I think I went last year one time and I've gone a hand. I mean, Sean and I, we met at a ski place. We met at a ski manufacturer that was just outside of Denver. And then I worked for Colorado Ski Country. So, I mean, I used to actually, we were talking about this over the weekend. I used to do the ski report. So I'd have to call it was like 4 something in the morning. I'd have to call all the ski areas and get all of their snow totals. And then I'd have to record something saying what all the snow totals were.
Is this before the internet, Jenny?
Yes. It was like right when the internet was getting started. But I'm like, oh my God, that is hilarious. So yeah, so I had to do that. But yeah, so we met in the ski industry. And so we loved it. But yeah, and then we had kids, and the kids, we would take them and they would bitch and we're cold and we don't like this and all that kind of stuff.
Cold. I mean, that's my thing is we had one out of the 2 days we were skiing that was beautiful, but the next day it was cold. Like,
neither one fell in love with it. And like I have friends where their kids just fell in love with it. My kids did not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. My older son is not really, but Wyatt, I do it. But you know, he's got hockey. That's priority on the weekends, right?
You know, soccer, they had soccer games on the weekends and stuff like that. So, and I still remember they were in lessons. I did, it was consecutive weekends of lessons. And so I would take them up on like a Saturday morning, and then they would do lessons and I bring them back.
That's super motivated. Not that motivated.
Oh my God. Their last lesson, it took us 8 hours to get home. And I was like, I am so done with this.
It's not that much fun. I mean, it's fun, but let's like put a level like of
totally
on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah. Like a ski in, ski out place. Great.
Right. And if you have like an 8 day, like let's say you rank your day and 1 to 10 and it's an 8, and then you sit in traffic for like 7 hours, you're like, oh, now it's a 1.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I know. Yeah. So I don't know. So Sean is probably going to, but I'm like, no, after my handle should be fine by then, but I'm like, I can't.
That's you just be safe, Jenny. I think you said it before, like you need to be wrapped in a bubble. Or
I know.
Like
I know. So interestingly enough, we ran into, so there's a lot of expats in Costa Rica, and this guy was there from Canada. He was in the urgent care or the emergency room too. And he was telling us, he's like, it probably won't be that expensive. So for an emergency room visit, it was $460 with no insurance.
Yeah, that's solid. I mean,
I don't know what
it'd be like $4,000 or something crazy.
Yeah. And I haven't checked yet. I need to call tomorrow, but I heard that credit cards offer insurance, like travel, when you travel, offer some sort of insurance. So I was going to call and ask tomorrow. So I'll update you.
Yeah, no, that's interesting for sure.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of travel, we're pretty excited. I mean, it's a ways out, but we kind of got our, we like to kind of plan it ahead, put it out there so we have something to look forward to. So over spring break, we were considering Costa Rica, but we went ahead and decided on Belize. So we're going to do Belize. And then we did book our flights to Tokyo for the summer. So
when do you go to Tokyo?
We're going to go into May.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. So, that's going to be amazing. Both of them are going to be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we have been to Tokyo before and it was amazing years ago, but this trip's a little bit more focused on my stepson, who was adopted when he was a little guy from Korea. And we're also going to add Korea to the trip so we can take him back and kind of show him where he's from. And, I was kind of joking with him that, if he has all these cute girls talking to him, they're all going to assume he knows Korean, and he
totally
not one, like he knows Spanish really well. That's going to work out for him. So yeah, we're really excited to kind of make this trip about him and,
that's awesome.
Kind of give him the opportunity to check out that kind of, area that he, where he came from, really.
I remember when Jeff brought him home, I totally remember that. I remember him dressed up. He wasn't a newborn. Strongest memory I have of him. He was dressed as a Yoda for Halloween. It was like the cutest thing ever. But yeah, I still remember him as a little guy. So it's crazy.
They grow so fast, don't they?
I know.
And then, so you said you have Alaska coming up, which is very exciting.
Yep. So we're going to go to Alaska. I tried to get dog sledding on the agenda, but it's like we're only going for
But you're holding on to something, Jenny. I mean, that could be dangerous. Like,
I did think about that. We're not going to do it because it's like a full day trip and we're not going to have enough time with Alyssa's schedule, but we might do snowmobiling instead.
Yeah.
So,
what I did want to update everyone, and because you were just, sitting on the edge of your seats, I did get a really nice camera and I have been practicing taking a photography of my son and their hockey games. And I did take a small little class up in Boulder. I'm having fun learning more, just like kind of taking the photos myself and just kind of figuring it out. But wanted to give you an update because it has been a lot of fun, and I hope to continue to, get better at it and just, continue to learn all the tips and tricks of, becoming a better photographer. So
and your
working on that.
Awesome.
Jenny, what were you saying? I forgot for your, what was it? Our Masogis or Masagis or
was it dancing?
Oh yeah. I think you were supposed to dance class or something.
I've been taking a class I've been taking on Tuesday nights that it's a dance class at the gym. And then I've been going to Zumba with my friend who's a really good dancer. And so me and my other two friends that are not good dancers stand in the back and we do our own thing. Like we try to keep up.
Can you please video this and it can go on the channel with everything else?
Oh my God. It's so bad. I mean, yeah, but it's super, like we laugh and we have a great time and I'm like, who cares? It's fun. Awesome. So usually I do that on Sunday morning. I did yoga this morning, which I'm modifying like everything, right? Because I can't use my fingers and my hands, but dance, I don't need to. So
in the Olympics, like maybe, the breakdancing isn't that far out. I don't know. Right.
I guess I won't be a rope swinger in the Olympics. No. That's for sure.
Rope swinging, climbing, any of that. But, maybe dancing. That's your
maybe. Yeah. Well, and it was, so I don't know, something weird happened last night. So my finger, like I said, it hasn't been that painful, but for some bizarre reason last night, it was like incredibly painful, but almost like there was a nerve that was being hit because it was like the fingers next to it were really sore. And I told Sean it was like contractions. It was so painful and I was awake most of the night. And so I was like, I did go to yoga and then I was like, I can't do anything. I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah. Well, in yoga, you use your hands a lot, Jenny. Like, don't you?
Well, I didn't. I'm doing dolphin instead of downward dog. Like anything that involves hands, I'm just modifying. So, yeah.
So looking back, to kind of like sum up 2024, and, I haven't given you an opportunity to think of the answer to this question, but I'm going to throw it out. Yeah. What do you think is a lesson you learned in that year that you're hoping to kind of, take that, whatever it is you learned and come into 2025 fresh and just like ready to rock whatever it is that you're putting your mind to?
I guess the lesson is, or what I'm taking from it is, both girls are mostly out of the house now, right? Chelsea's here on breaks, but that's pretty minimal. So I think that the lesson is that there's a whole world out there that I need to start exploring, right? There's just like new experiences that I want to do, the new places I want to go, new activities I want to do. So, I think that the lesson for me is it's time to kind of take that time back and get out there.
I like it. New chapter, right? Like you turn the page and you have this whole blank sheet to just write exactly what it is that you want to do. Because for, 20 years of your life, you've been focused 100% on raising good humans, and you're still focused on raising good humans, but you can be selfish again. Yeah. So well, and it's weird too, because when you think about like, what are all the things you want to do? I mean, there's stuff I want to do, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I go one of two directions. It's like, there's so much stuff I want to do. How am I going to get it all done? And then the other way is like, oh my gosh, what even is there to do out there? So it's like trying to figure that out. It's almost so overwhelming that you're like, I think I'll just do nothing. Cause it's almost that, I have that feeling sometimes where there's so much you want to do, but I'm like,
you're like frozen.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
totally.
I think it's an exciting spot for you to be in, for sure.
So what about you? What did you take?
I think we've talked about it before. There's always a time for everything, and being okay with being okay is okay, right? Yeah, totally. You may not be in the place that you feel or think you should be. And that's okay, because that time may not be now, but it could be coming up. So I think patience, which, my husband would laugh incredibly loud at this. I'm a very impatient person.
Yep, me too.
So I think it's learning to just, continue to be a little patient, because maybe hopefully that patience pays off when it's the right time, making everything come together.
Well, but it's not on our timeline. That's the thing. And, Chelsea tells me I have a patience problem. So
I have a sign in my closet that says patience because my friend got it for me one time because she was like, you know what, just, and I still hold it. It's in my closet. And
I love it. Yeah.
It doesn't
It's
help.
a good reminder.
Yeah, it's absolutely a good reminder.
Yeah.
Well, so focusing on 2025, I think for the podcast, I'm excited, and I know you and I chatted about this, like to continue to, you know, find the most amazing women we can to be on the show that have unique stories that, you know, are empowering, impactful. And honestly, like we've talked about before, I think that's every woman out there. Every woman has a story. Every mom has a story. So really continuing to, you know, share these epic women's stories with everyone. So I'm excited for, you know, the upcoming guest and just to continue to grow our community.
Yeah, me too. And, you know, when I think about topics that are exciting, and I think we've brought this one up before, but we have somebody that we're going to talk to about like using alternative medicines, like to go on journeys, which I'm super excited, like psilocybin, ketamine, like that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then I sent it, I was thinking I sent it to you a few days ago, Lori, but I sent it to you today, and it's called the telepathy tapes. So I didn't tell you what it was about yet. So it's one of the number one podcasts right now, but my friend was telling me about it. It's about nonverbal autistic kids and the fact that they have been learning that these kids are all communicating telepathically with each other.
What?
And so I was talking with one of my other friends about it, who is a scientist, and he was like Googling it, and he's like, oh, they're getting kind of panned or whatever. But I'm like, you know what? And it was saying stuff like, well, they're giving parents hope that, you know, these parents are vulnerable and they have hope and they're taking advantage of that. And I was like, I don't know. It's actually really remarkable when you start to hear the stories. And I think that we're insane if we think that we know all there is to know. And I mean, what's the percentage of our brain that we use? It's like so small. And the fact that like, just because they don't speak, that they don't have, you know, intelligence, or that they can't communicate, or that animals can't communicate. We know that animals can communicate with each other.
I love exploring these kind of topics more because they're very interesting, and you can agree or disagree, and to put it out there and for everyone to make their own decisions. So I love it.
I'd love to dig into that and talk to a mom that has a kiddo that, you know, has had that experience. That would be really fun.
No, that's awesome. So if any of you are listening and want to share your epic stories with us, please reach out to us. You can go to our website, bampod.com, and reach out to us there. And we're excited to kick off 2025 with you all. And we really appreciate you appreciate you listening and continuing to support our mission of spreading, you know, epic women's stories to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been so fun. So I'm just grateful that we get to do this, and we get to do this with each other, because it's been awesome.
So fun. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.